Convicted felon. Those are the two words that you're going to hear a ton of leading into November. And honestly, if these debates even happen now, who even knows? For anybody that wasn't paying attention, a former president is now like I said, convicted felon. We're going to get to talking about it and some of the ramifications and my thoughts on the whole thing. And that's about all I got for you today. Let's get right to it.
This thing that's in my brain, it keeps me from wanting to go on, but I want some game. Maybe a little fame. Yeah.
So, gonna keep this one short and sweet. Didn't do any show for Memorial Day. I hope you guys had a great holiday. I've been busting my ass at work, and yeah, I needed some off time. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. Clearly, my voice hasn't had it. We'll link down in the description a link to our last, I think it was last year or year before, the Memorial Day show, which is another reason I didn't do a show, is because it's really irreplaceable when you're talking to a former veteran, one who goes through PTSD, one who has had suicidal ideas and thoughts, and you can't overcome that. So again, I'll link that in the description for anybody who was looking for a show on Memorial Day. I apologize again. Now, getting into today's show, it was interesting. I took some time off and quite a bit happened, but the biggest story, of course, and you're not going to be able to get away from it, is the fact that we have a former president now, President Trump, who's been charged now 34 counts of violating the federal, I believe it's just the Federal Elections Act or some sort of federal elections law. And it was found in New York, which I find interesting. So I'm not a legal scholar, obviously. I have no idea what really the specific details mean in all this. The only thing that I could see is that the case was brought up essentially following the entire trajectory of Trump paying off Stormy Daniels, with that payment, with trying to sidestep some of the political ramifications that could be involved in paying off a former porn star while you were married. Avoiding all of this, Trump ends up stepping into quite a load of crap. I believe his former attorney, what the hell was that guy's name? It wasn't Avenatti, was it? Let's go find out. This guy, Michael Cohen. Okay, so it was Michael Cohen, not Avenatti. He came up. He was doing all this talk, got all this praise. The judge in this case, he also let out some instructions to the jury that I'm not sure if any of you saw, but basically was that you all don't have to come to a unanimous decision, which is not like anything I've ever seen. Again, don't know the specifics, don't know what kind of precedent there might be for that. Convicting a former president on that charge, that's where I think the problem is, and I think that's where a lot of people are going to have their issues. It's going to be interesting to see how other people react to it, but my initial reaction is this. As much as I don't like Trump, the way that you're going after him, the way you're trying to beat him is, to me, insoluble for the American people. You can't utilize a branch of the government in order to wield it like a weapon against your opponent. And that's exactly what's being done here. Whether it's Joe Biden directly or people underneath him, to put him being Trump, to put Trump into this position, put him possibly in jail. You're getting into a precedent that's never happened before. This is the first time ever that a former president at all has been charged with a crime. And again, my problem is the flimsiness, the non-solidness. There was no fraud proven. I think he still has trials to come here on the election fraud and stuff with 2020 and the January 6th stuff. That stuff being to the side, that's not what this was about. And now you see, to me, you see a legal system being turned on someone who didn't fit in. And this is where we have the issue. And this is where I think my mind is made up, at least most of the way. And I will be making sure that I cast a ballot here on Tuesday in New Jersey. For any of you people that have an opportunity, this will be tomorrow now. Anybody has an opportunity to cast your vote, I suggest you at least think about voting for Trump if you have the opportunities. The historical context of this, I think, couldn't be greater. And this is why, with all the focus of the different eras in history and how important the legal system is to maintaining a steady and functioning republic, it's crucial. You look back to the biggest thought that I have, and it's it's a time frame of human history that I don't fully understand yet. I haven't done enough research into, but the French Revolution is the first thought that came to my mind when this started happening, and start having flashbacks and thoughts to the high society and people like Robespierre using the guillotine, right? And I couldn't help but just think that this is the next step down the road when you're looking at it in the grand scheme of things. When you take a step back and realize the time frame that this whole case and everything surrounding Trump for 2024, look at everything in context, all right? So Trump is performing far better than anybody anticipated, I would think. After what happened with January 6th, everything and leading it up to it, and everything in 2020. And looking back on it, Trump should be probably down, and he's actually competing, if not ahead of Biden in many places. So that's showing that maybe people aren't opposed to Trump, which I think is not the case. I think people are really opposed to Biden. And this is where I'm not so sure that this move to convict Trump or get him on all this stuff before the election, I don't know if it's going to pay off. I don't know if it's going to hurt, but I don't know if it's going to pay off, because I think that basically everybody else is baked in the cake. Everybody's made a decision now. Whether they go to the poll or not that day is different, but how they feel about the candidates, I think, is just about on par. What you may have done here is convinced enough independents that they can't go to the box office. That's funny. Can't go to the ticket booth. Can't go to the voting booth for you. If they can't go to the voting booth for you, that's essentially a vote for the other person. So if they're not going to go and show up and vote for Joe Biden, well, that's basically counting at least as a half a vote for Donald Trump. So I think they may have done that. I think enough people are going to recognize that this is wielding judicial power that he doesn't have. We also have a case coming up, I believe, in the following week with Hunter Biden. We're going to have to see how the justice system treats a case that is, let's just say this has been crocked up by the right to be just as bad, if not worse, than anything else anybody on the right has done. And we're going to have to see. We're going to have to see how a Justice Department going after the president's son, how that actually pans out, because originally, remember that Hunter was going to get off on a plea deal that was fantastic for him, but was embarrassing based on the actual crimes committed. And now we're going to have to go to trial. When it comes to Trump, the biggest thing, of course, is going to be, like I mentioned in the beginning of the show there in the intro, convicted felon. You're going to have to overcome that label of being a convicted felon. Do enough of Americans and patriotic Americans, do they pay attention and realize that maybe it was sham charges? And I'm not going out either way, but they do seem fishy. Do enough Americans think the same? That's where you might be running into issues. There might be enough Americans that once that trial actually concluded, there might be enough Americans saying, can't do it. And that we just won't know. So with all this in mind, we have Trump. Now, another thing I want you guys to recognize, if you made it this far, is Trump is getting sentenced in about a month from now, July 10th, July 11th. This will be right around when the RNC is supposed to happen. Interesting note that I heard, and I don't know how true or what the truth to this statement is, but if it's not accepted, if the candidate cannot accept the nomination that has been voted for him, I heard that it basically goes to the floor and it's a House vote. And if it's a House vote for the presidential nominee, well, then it's a crapshoot. You never know. It could be a slide in for Nikki Haley. It could be a Ron DeSantis thing. You just don't know. This is where it's going to get interesting, I think, to me. The timing of everything, the planning of when this event was going to occur, and how they were going to get him seems to be foresaw by at least a decent amount of people. It seems to be planned. Is everything planned? Do things just usually line up? Most of the times you can chalk it up to naivety, stupidity, one or the other. To me, it doesn't seem coincidental. And even if he's able to appeal, which I believe he would be, and of course you look at the conservative-leaning Supreme Court, he should have an ability, if he can get it up there, to get the charges at least lowered, dropped. But the point is that it's going to take time, I think. I think it's planned for this reason. by the time the name is cleared, if it gets cleared, it will be so far past this election. He's not electable for the next one. They're both going to be way too old to run again. This is the problem. This is the problem to me. And this is the problem with this whole conviction, in my opinion. It may be that Trump doesn't win. Maybe that Trump wins. To me, it doesn't really matter. The way that America works is a pendulum. It swings back and forth, get a little bit too extreme, and then we vote back the other way. It just keeps going round and round. When the next time that the Republicans take charge, they have that lead in office, and whenever they get that next majority, because it will happen, the lashback and the whiplash of having your own policies and your own political functions turned back on you is going to be felt hard. And this is what I'm afraid of as a nation. You don't get away with something like this. You don't get away with breaking precedent once, first time in 240 years of the country being in existence. First time ever. You don't get away with that. It's going to come back around. Like I said, whether it's Trump or whether it's DeSantis in 4 more years or whether it's Vivek in 8 more years or whoever it is down the line, might be someone we don't even know. They're going to use the power that's now basically been granted to go after their political opponents in the same light. And this is where we are going to really lose the fabric of the nation. It's not that you can blame Trump. And that's not my point. And it's understanding this that I'd still cast a vote for him, especially considering the opposition or going for Biden. But understanding what he's going to do and what the country is now becoming, where we're heading. Like I mentioned Robespierre before, heading to a guillotine scenario. I want you guys to picture this. The amount of effort that's gone into Trump not being allowed to win this election. Last time it was a lot. The time before that was a lot as well. I've never seen this much effort being put in to stop someone from being voted in. Imagine that he does. Is his life in danger? Are there people that would sell him out in order to get him convicted, thrown behind bars, not allowed to run, not allowed to proceed with the job of being president? And these are questions that are going to have to be asked because, like I said, we could have a president in jail. I don't know what that means. I don't think anybody really knows what that means, but I want you guys to sound off in the comments. Let me know what you are thinking about it. And let me know if it changed your perception or your feeling of either whether you're going to vote, who you're going to vote for. Does it make you lean more Biden? Does it make you lean Trump? I want everybody to let me know what you think, because to me, like I said, I had that gut reaction. To me, it feels like someone's getting attacked using a political arm, and I don't like it. It's kind of gross, and not even kind of, it is gross to me. And it's one thing if someone really did something that was impacting the overall well-being of the United States or the national security of the United States. That's totally a different ballgame to me. To me, the biggest factor is you claim to be the dirtiest, most muddy politician in the history of the United States. You just got him on sham charges for paying off a porn star. Chew on that cracker. See what you think of it. See if you agree more with me that you think this was someone taking advantage of the system, or do you agree more with the sentiment that nobody is above the law? And if you believe that, do you believe it if it comes back around and swings and hits Biden, hits the Clintons, hits Obama? If that same hammer gets spun around the other way, is that okay too? Sound off in the comments. Let me know. That's all I got for the week. Hit us up with patriotsmedia.com. Check us out for anything you need, and I'll catch you guys next week. Peace out.
I wanna be something, not nothing. Trapped inside my dream and I'm running away from these demons. But the feeling's so good, I'ma keep dreaming.